Can you guys still hear me on this? Right. No, we've done a few with this weird live streaming.
Welcome everybody to Grid Life Live here from round one, track battle at Mid-Ohio. We have all of our announce systems in place and we're ready to get rolling here. This is Time Attack Track Battle Group C on track, so we've already got a lot of action out of the way. Group A, Group B, both done and completed so far. We're at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course up here in Northern Ohio. Things are pretty chilly this morning. So not the fastest times we've seen in Grid Life history, but drivers starting to get grip, things getting up to temp. First time out for a lot of these drivers this year. So we'll go to the top from Group A, and it's Tony Calabrese in his 05 Pure Tuning Subaru STI at the front. 1 minute 29.7, the benchmark he set this morning. James Houghton, though, within a second of him at a 130.7 as well. So we've got STI at the front. No surprise there in the chilly weather this morning. The all-wheel drive car really getting it done, and we watched him come out of the carousel, specifically all four wheels spinning, nice four-wheel drive drift to get that 1 minute 29.7, holding the top spot of the event so far. Rounding out the podium in Unlimited right now, looking like it's going to be quite a bit ways down, so the battle at the front totally between Tony Calabrese and James Houghton. We've seen these guys go heads again in the past, so cool to see them battling. Moving on to track modified, this is still in Group A. Luke McGrew set the benchmark time at a 1 minute 31.9, and he was actually moving pretty good. If we compare that to track records from the past, the track modified track record is Danny Pop from 2 years ago, a 1 minute 30 flat. So Luke McGrew within 2 seconds of that, and I think as things heat up through this weekend, we'll definitely see Luke challenging that track record. Second place right now in track modified is Paul Curley, the number 45, and unfortunately we saw Paul Curley come in with a lot of smoke out of the back of his C5 Corvette. So hopefully we see Paul back out there, but he was at a 137.2, so Luke McGrew pretty comfortable at the top of track modified. Moving on to the FCP Euro Street Modified category, and it's James Forbes at the front, another C5 Corvette, and that's a 136.2, the benchmark for Street Modified. We have these guys splitting heats now. We're going to have to move to Group B for Brian Tyson running in the FCP Euro Street Modified class. He's in a Camaro ZL1 1LE at a 136.3, so the benchmark time a 136.2. Brian Tyson 136.3, really tight there at the front of FCP Euro Street Modified. Jeremy Boysen is in the hunt as well as Matt DeRoos. So Street Modified going to be one of our big battle classes, I think. Moving on down through the categories, the next up is going to be Street GT. I think we saw the benchmark time of Street GT also from Group B. That's going to be Chris Bickford. So Bickford in a new Corvette, that's a C7 Corvette, but right behind Ron Spear and Brian Lazenby. We don't know who was driving, but they're teamed up for this weekend. Those drivers both in the 1 minute 41 range. So the brand new Street GT category created this year for cars that don't quite fit in the street category by performance out of the factory. These cars have a little too much power, a little too much tire. Something about them doesn't quite fit in that street category that we've seen here at Grid Life competition in years past. So new category for these Street GT cars with higher horsepower right out of the factory, but still prepared in the same rule set in the spirit of a street car. Moving down then finally to the Power Stop Street category, and Austin Hurdle in his 370Z setting a really great benchmark, 1 minute 40.6. He's the quick car so far out of Power Stop Street. And looking to this Power Stop Street category track records, that is going to be a 139.0 from Jackie Ding, who is on track right now. But I'm going to compare that time from Austin Hurdle, 140.6, to Jackie's track record of 139.9. Sorry, 139 flat. Austin's within striking distance as the temps come up. So now we can move to the live action. We've got a bunch of cars on course. Again, this is Track Battle Group C. At the top of the scoreboards in this event is Jackie Ding, running out of the FCP Street Modified category. Jackie taking the swing at this car for a supercharger this year, so he's going to be making a lot more power. Pretty similar everywhere else except for some additional aero. So time right now for Jackie is going to be a 142.2. Again, the street modified benchmark right now, the 136.2 out of James Forbes. So Jackie's still getting that car dialed in. Again, first time on track with the supercharger. We're watching him right in front of me here on the front straight as you guys look through Thunder Valley right now. Up into the keyhole, kind of talk through the track maybe a little bit. This is watching the exit of turn 1, a nice long straightaway up into turn 2. That's the keyhole. Turn 2, there are really great passing opportunities as we move towards the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup on the schedule, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But we see these guys really heavy braking zone, and we're running the pro course here this weekend, so you see the chicane off on your left side of the screen. Not running that this weekend, just a nice straight shot, letting these cars eat up into turn 1. Heavy braking as we cut down from turn 2 all the way down the back straight into turn 4. That bend right and then up over the crest of Madness. That's turn 5. That corner continues over the crest about 70, 80 degrees and back down the hill towards turn 6. Got a little bit of a blank spot in our live coverage here through between the S's and Thunder Valley. But these guys working through the S's here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And there it is, Thunder Valley. So we've shifted from the S's, turns 4, 5, and 6, and that crest, you see the silver car, the red car, your white car cresting right now. That is turn number 9, so we shifted from 6 to 9, shooting up this Thunder Valley. Cars get nice and loud through there on either side of that hill, and then a really fast sweeping left-hander. You see the yellow Integra sweep through there. One of the fast corners on this course, surprisingly fast, really. That's turn 11, and the last corner on the course now, we're looking at the Carousel. Really critical to get a good dig off of this corner and finish the lap strong. I'm going to talk you through a lap of Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This is year 3 for GRIDLIFE at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Most of the track records, as we talk about track battle competition, came from 2017, as it rained almost the entire time last year at the 2018 second visit to Mid-Ohio. Looking back to the timesheets, Jackie Ding has gotten down to a 141.7. Quick car on the track is actually Joshua Halka out of the street category, 139.8. And that's really moving for the street car. Again, the track record is a 39 flat, so even in this nice, super cold conditions this morning, Josh Halka in the Subaru STI getting it done. He's knocking on the door of track record territory with that one. There's a look at Halka right there. See him hucking it into the S's up over the crest, really getting it done. There we go, down the hill into turn 6. There's a good look at what we were seeing before. And he's got the back end of that car. That's really quick in that car. Potentially on a flyer. He was a little slow last time through. So we'll be looking to see where he comes through this time by. As I say that, I am on the front straight here in the timing building. So I've got the windows in front of me. I can see the front straight and the carousel down into turn 1, and then I've got my live feed. But right now I'm watching the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup field exit the grid and come onto the pit lane for their very first session of the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. If you haven't heard of this, this is GRIDLIFE's first foray into wheel-to-wheel racing. This is going to be a one single-class super sprint race, about 15-minute races. These guys are going to race 5 times this weekend. You think of it kind of like a Gran Turismo championship almost. These guys rolling onto the pit lane for their very first look at the track this weekend and the very first official session for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Back to the start-finish line, Josh Halka trips the lights at a 1:39.7, so that's going to be his new fastest time. He was at a 1:39.8 before, so he's really maximizing that WRX this morning out of the street category. So again, welcome to GRIDLIFE Live here from round one of the GRIDLIFE Track Battle season here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Really excited to have this GRIDLIFE Live program up and running. This is kind of a basic version of what this program will evolve into. It's been an evolving process so far over the years of coverage for these events, and you see we have some panning cameras, live static cameras. We're going to be live streaming live coverage of every time session this weekend. We've got track battle competition, the time attack groups 1, 2, and 3, and then we've got GRIDLIFE Touring Cup competition. Going to see a lot of live action this weekend. All of it here at grid.life/live. We've also got that up live on YouTube at the GRIDLIFE page. You can join in the conversation in the chats. Talk to us. Let us know who you're cheering for. Let us know who to heckle. Any and all the above. So you see on your screen there, this is labeled qualifying, and these guys are kind of placed into the groups, Group A, B, and C, as well as we can, but there's no official timing until this first session. They'll all get regrouped into Groups A, B, and C based on straight-up lap time, and we'll have a much better look at clear running, clear laps. We've seen a lot of traffic in these first sessions, which always happens. Which is why it's impressive for someone like Josh Halka here, who's on track now, to be knocking on the door of track records first thing out of the gate. A couple other guys moving around. This is Grant Walker up to second fastest in the session, a 1:40.5. He's in the unlimited category. Jackie Ding still continuing to improve green every lap on my live timing screen. 1:41.7 is where he is. Peter Zhang also up into the top 5 of this session. That's a 1:42.0 for Peter Zhang out of the FCP Street Modified category. And 5th fastest this session, Sam Bosnian out of the Street category. We do have one more category to talk about, and that's the Sunday Cup. This is a kind of evolution of Spec Fit, and it's for the simplest of track cars. Low horsepower, low prep. Most of them are going to be those Spec Fits, but we also have, I believe, a Suzuki Swift in the class there. Right now, Matt Williams leading the way at a 1:55.2, which is really hauling the mail for a mostly stock Honda Fit. Mark Boucher, I think is how you say that. Second place in Sunday Cup, and then Sally McNulty up here learning her way around Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the very first time. She actually just debuted into SRO TC America competition, wheel-to-wheel racing for the first time. Sally been very successful in her Subaru running time attack in Global Time Attack and here in GRIDLIFE competition for years and years. Had the opportunity to take the step into wheel-to-wheel racing with Honda in a Honda Civic SI. Took it and ran, so she completed her first wheel-to-wheel weekend successfully at Circuit of the Americas a couple months ago. She's here getting front-wheel drive seat time in one of these Sunday Cup Spec Fits. She's also visiting VIR at the end of this month for race 2 of TC America. Scrolling back up, not a lot of movement at the top. Ben Mitch, the good improvement in Street Modified. Ben driving his 93 RX-7, improved up to a 1:45.7. I think there's a good look at Ben right there. flashing through turn 11. He's got his arm out the window, so he's calling it a day for this session as the clock counts down. Last couple of laps finishing up here, and we do have a checkered flag actually on the front straight. There we go. Beautiful view of the front straight, and this is actually the perspective I have live in person. I'm pretty much right behind this camera, so if you hear me referencing things I see, this is what I'm looking at. Beautiful, beautiful morning, especially for early April here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Again, last year it rained almost every second of the event, so we're all thanking the racing gods for the beautiful sunny morning, if not a little chilly, but coats are coming off. And again, the next session on track is going to be the first ever laps turned for the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup Wheel-to-Wheel Series. Checking into our YouTube live stream, we got Brad Adams out there. Give you a shout out, Brad. Thanks for tuning in. Wish you were here. We also got Abel Gonzalez cheering for Jackie Ding, passing everybody here in Group C. Obviously, Jackie and a couple of the these other guys going to be jumping it up into potentially even Group A as we see the track battle competition back out later this afternoon. The next sessions out for GRIDLIFE Time Attack is going to be 3:10 this afternoon. Got a lot of HPDE sessions between now and then. Really cool driver development series, especially for the beginners going on here in GRIDLIFE. Shifting to a spectating instruction model rather than a right seat instruction model, so you can have absolutely zero experience. You bring your street car out here and we pair you with an instructor who each instructor stands on a corner around the outside of the track. They all spectate, watch how you're doing after we kind of get you the ropes, talk you through how the sessions work and turn you loose, and then watch how you do and give you feedback from the outside of the car. A lot safer for my instructor buddies out there, but also a great way to learn and get feedback after the fact. Without getting overwhelmed in the moment, having that instructor riding with you. So we're going to see a lot of that HPDE stuff, beginners, intermediates, and advanced, between now and the next competition session, starting with GRIDLIFE Touring Cup qualifying at 2:30, which we'll be back live for. So we're going to stay live here for a little bit and cover GRIDLIFE Touring Cup practice. We'll talk about the class. We'll talk about some of the cars, some of the contenders. Again, this is the first time these cars will see the timer this weekend, and first time a lot of these guys will race with one another. And then we go hot again back with this GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. At 2:30, we're going to stay live from 2:30 until the end of the second race this afternoon around 6 o'clock. So we've got 3.5 hours of live streaming coverage, all competition between GRIDLIFE Track Battle and Touring Cup competition. But a recap of what we saw here in session number 1 at the top, overall and in Unlimited, Tony Calabrese in the Pure Tuning STI, a 1 minute 29.7. Comparing that to track record from 2017 in Unlimited, that still holds Brian Fessler at a 1:24.9. So Tony's got about 5 seconds to find a challenge for the track record, but he holds the top spot over James Houghton by exactly 1 second. 1:30.7 is the time for Houghton. Luke McGrew at the top of track modified, just over Paul Curley, Viper, and then C5 Corvette there in track modified. Luke doing a ton of work to that Viper over the offseason, so it's paying off so far. James Forbes holding down the top of Street Modified by ever so slight margin to Brian Tyson. Corvette to Camaro there at the top of Street Modified. Brought to you by FCP Euro. Checking into Power Stop Street, that's Austin Hurdle at the top. Oh, I lied. No, we saw Josh Halka go to the top. Austin Hurdle going to be second there. And then in Sunday Cup, it was Matt Williams. Great look at these GRIDLIFE Touring Cup cars. So let's talk GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Again, this is the first foray into wheel-to-wheel competition. It's been about 5 years in the making from Master Grand Wizard wheel-to-wheel guru Adam Jabe, who will be joining me later on the stream. This is a all single class super sprint races. They're super short, 15 minutes, about hot from green flag to checkered flag. Think of it like I said, a Gran Turismo championship. These guys racing 5 times this weekend, and it's all one class, power to weight ratio based. All these cars targeted to a 12.5 to 1 power to weight ratio, so they're going to have 12.5 pounds per 1 horsepower. There's a great look at one of the cars that kind of set the benchmark and created this class. That was Eric Coutil flashing across your screen there. That car comes out of SCCA Club Racing. Most of these cars coming from either SCCA or NASA Club Racing. We have some budget endurance cars from various series out there as well. But again, all one class. No confusing classes to figure out who's competing against who. Everyone's out there racing from start to finish against one another. And the live timing has started. Going to see a lot of Hondas, a lot of Mazdas out here, as you do in club racing. But we do have a pretty good variety. We've got a GT86 out there. We've got an E46 and E36 M3. Huge variety of years in the Honda product out there. A couple Acuras as well. Mostly NA Miatas, as we see a couple of these guys come across the start-finish. Those are the winning Formula guys out of Lexington, Kentucky. And that beautiful red and black E46 or E36 that you see flash there is also out of Lexington, Kentucky. That's Rob Manucheri. A couple of these guys just starting flyers for the first time. Rounding out the field is going to be a C4 Corvette. Yeah, you heard that right, from the early 90s. C4 Corvette, Chris Tuttle. We've seen him a lot in track battle competition and in Evo, but he's going full redneck in his C4 Corvette out there. Going to be choked down and weighing the most in the class, but going to have a lot of torque in that car. It'll be really interesting racecraft to see how these cars compare to one another. So the difference between track battle and Touring Cup. Track battle, fastest lap counts. Single fastest lap through the entire weekend is all that matters. Touring Cup, again, it's 5 races through the weekend. When the green flag drops, these guys are racing wheel to wheel to get back to the checkered flag first. The next thing about it is 5 races over the weekend. You score points per race, and there's going to be a champion at the end of the weekend. Whoever scores the most points over 5 races is the real winner. So you got to be consistent, not only fast in one race. Getting some times in for the first time here. GRIDLIFE Touring Cup practice. These guys getting their bearings. And it's Dave Montgomery out of Cincinnati, Ohio in his NA Miata that goes to the top. 147.4, but Eric Coutil in that EG hatch right behind him, 147.7. These guys about 0.3 apart on their very first lap of the weekend, and they are bumper to bumper on track as well. Going to be learning from each other. Next up, one of our rookies, DJ Alessandrini of iRacing fame and autocross fame. He's holding down the 3rd spot, a 152.4, and this is one of the coolest racing stories I've ever heard. A guy in Florida by the name of Peter Lear. If you follow One Lap of America, Peter Lear is a familiar name. This is his NASA time trials car that he's had for years, kind of an easy learner car for him to go take to tracks, have a good time with. And here's a great look. There it is, DJ Alessandrini's second car in frame, the white Civic there. He being Peter Lear, posted up that he wanted to donate this car to a deserving racer. Put it out there that he wanted racers who were aspiring to take the step from maybe autocross, maybe budget endurance racing with a team, wanted to take the step into wheel-to-wheel racing their own car. Pitch to Peter why you deserve this free race car. And of all the proposals that Peter got, DJ Alessandrini won that free car, and he's now 3rd place right now on his first lap of practice. Went to a comp school in West Virginia, Summit Point, a couple weeks ago, and again, really experienced in the autocross world and in iRacing, so taking digital racing into the real world. And there is that white 8th gen Honda Civic Si of DJ Alessandrini. Probably not one of the most prepped cars here, but it was the cheapest. All right, we have some more movement at the top. Eric Coutil taking over the top spot from Dave Montgomery, but only a 10th. 143.3. There is Eric Coutil, white and red EG hatch. Watch these guys dive down into the S's. The car right behind him is Dave Montgomery. Those guys at the top. Woohoo! And goes for a spin. That's the 184 car. It's a good indicator of how cold it is here. Oh, Eric Coutil chucks it into the S's, figuring out the limits. He was on a flyer. He was starting to pull away from Dave Montgomery there, but chucks out any improvement on this lap, most likely with that big slide into turn 4. Just behind him, Dave Montgomery. Again, these guys under 2/10 apart at the top in the low 1:40 range. DJ Alessandrini picks up a ton of time on his second lap at a 1:45.4. Chris Tuttle in the C4 Corvette also under the 1:50 mark at a 1:49.8. So top two super close. DJ Alessandrini picking up time. Chris Tuttle jumps under the 1:50 mark, and we've got a huge number of cars lumping into the 1:50 to 1:53 range. This is going to be a baller race for about 6th right now. We've got, starting with Jeremy Boysen, Aaron Lichty, Jolt Ferenczi, Chase Heikela, Scott Giles, Kevin Buss, Robbie Manucheri, Bill Griffin, Jake Jorenstad, all these guys in the 1:51 to 1:53 range. All right, taking a look back at our live stream. Paint you a picture of what I got going on in front of me. I got live timing on one monitor. I've got my live stream chat on one monitor. I'm looking at the live coverage on one monitor, trying to keep track of everything going on here. Watching Dave Montgomery and Eric Coutil currently setting the pace. Diving down into the S, as you see, this is the heaviest braking zone, down from over 100 miles an hour into about a 50 mile an hour, 90-degree corner, nice banking, and he's going to come around the outside of the RSX. Eric Coutil in pursuit. Very different cars, but again, same class, 12 to 1 power to, or 12.5 to 1 power to weight ratio. And that time by, Dave Montgomery actually did get quicker, 1:43.3. So both of these guys now 1:43.3s, and it is 0.05 between those two. That's nothing. These guys would basically tie if they run this pace all the way through the race. Coutil sweeps around the outside of our spinning friend earlier, trying to find the name of that driver out there. That's JT Murray. It's another SCCA club race car. JT really experienced in SCCA club racing there in that CRX third car in frames. These guys come onto the front straight, sweep across in front of me. Next Flyers, both of them pick up a bunch of time, but they're still glued together. Dave Montgomery goes back to the top at a 1:41.0. Eric Coutil 1:41.2. That means after you count in the tenths and hundredths and thousandths, they are 0.16 apart. These guys going to have a great race later. Rob Manucheri, a big mover on that lap, 1:47.5. DJ Alessandrini picks up a time as well, 1:43.7. So we've now got top 7 are under 150. A quick standings rundown. Dave Montgomery at the top, 1:41 flat. Eric Coutil, 1:41.2. DJ Alessandrini, 1:43.7. So it's really the top 2 in their own time zone. DJ by himself in third. And then it's Rob Manucheri at a 1:47. JT Murray, 1:48. Aaron Lichty, 1:48. Chris Tuttle, 1:49. So looking at 4th through 7th, really tight. And we'll lump Jeremy Boysen in there as well at a 1:50 flat. If you guys want to look at what I'm looking at, you just hit up Race Monitor online or on your phone, download the app, and you can see live timing. You're going to see the same screen that I'm watching for these lap times. Looking back onto the track, a couple of these cars coming at us. Those are one of the winning Formula cars out of Lexington, Kentucky. First car in frame, that's the Honey Badger, Scott Giles, who's actually the novice instructor for these wheel-to-wheel drivers this weekend. Super experienced club racer, actually one of the creators of Honda Challenge in NASA competition. Got a ton of experience. They just built that car for about $4,000 and decided to come out and race it. So that's an 85 CRX. Scott Giles flashes through your frame. And there are our top 2, Dave Montgomery, Eric Coutil, still sparring, treating this practice session like it's time attack, but it's Eric Coutil who improves the most, 1:39.6, first driver under the 140s. Dave Montgomery gets close, a 1:40.1, and it's actually JT Murray, who we saw spin in the CRX earlier. He tucked in with these guys. He's just tracking out, going to be the 4th car in frame there, back just a little bit. He goes to 3rd place at a 1:43.4. Oh, but as I say that, DJ Alessandrini picks up time, 1:41.5. Lots of movement still. So we'll talk about You know, we're talking lap times here as if this is time attack, but these guys are racing wheel to wheel later this weekend as they go 3 wide. That's the kind of action we're going to see for 15 minutes straight, 5 different times this weekend. And a lot of these guys have experience racing, maybe 1 or 2 of these other guys in either NASA club racing, maybe SCCA club racing, these cars coming from all over the place to come join this GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. A lot of these guys maybe though haven't raced the person they're going to end up door to door with. So not only are they figuring out the track, figuring out their cars for the first time this weekend, maybe the first time this year, they're also learning a completely new field of racers. And again, Eric Coutil setting the pace. We are cutting back now to the S's. Next car over the crest is going to be the benchmark car. That's Eric Coutil coming at us, Dave Montgomery in the gray Miata right behind, and it's still JT Murray hanging with them over the crest right about now-ish. Talk about a couple of our other drivers. The silver NC Miata in your frame here as we cut to the carousel. That's Derek Yarborough. He's one of our newer drivers, has done comp school for club racing, raced a little bit, but that is a brand new build for him, an NC Miata. Going to be a little heavier, a little higher displacement. And another one of the really involved drivers and instructors here with GRIDLIFE. He is holding down the 18th spot out of 21 drivers, 158.1. Running him down right now is Emil Taub in another one of those NA Miatas out of the winning formula stable. But I'm just having a ball watching Dave Montgomery and Eric Coutil here working together, learning from one another. Things still coming up to temp between the two of them. Eric Coutil and Dave do not improve that time by, so it's still the 139.6, the benchmark on pace. Really impressed also with the times picking up from DJ Alessandrini. Talked about him with that free race car, 1 minute 41.5. He's P3 right now in practice. Now he's one of the less experienced drivers, and we do have a handful of these newer drivers who, once we get into wheel-to-wheel racing, it's a completely different animal. So these lap times are important for now, and these do qualify for the races, but once that green flag drops, it's all about your wheel-to-wheel racecraft. Some more movement in the top 5 and the top 10. Aaron Lichty out of the winning formula stable in his NA Miata. There he is with the orange. Oh, nope, that's not him. Different orange lip. Aaron moves up, though, with a 142.2. Very similar car to the car of Dave Montgomery and also of Emil Taub, who we haven't talked about yet. Rob Manucheri continuing to click off quick times. Chase Heikela actually getting up into the top 10. That's just an SCCA or NASA spec Miata. He hasn't done anything special this weekend. Those cars fully fit into here. So again, these cars prepped to the maximum at a 12.5 to 1 power to weight ratio, but we have a huge variety of where these cars actually land on power to weight. Another good look at one of these newer Civics. That's a 9th gen Civic SI. That's Jake Jornstad. He's in 8th right now at a 145.1. It's a NASA club racing car. All right, great look at the E36 BMW of Rob Manucheri. He's in the 6th spot in practice right now. Going to be one of the higher displacement, heavier cars in the races. So what'll be really cool to see how this unfolds is where the cars make speed and how the drivers can capitalize on the strengths of their cars. All right, one of the drivers we referenced earlier coming at you now on the screen, that's Aaron Lichty. He heads up the operations at Winning Formula out of Lexington, Kentucky, and they build these, I don't want to say cookie cutter because that sounds negative, but it's not negative because they're all really good. Build these, they call it the Winning Formula for a reason. They have a formula down to build these Miatas for NASA spec racing competition, not spec racing, but club racing competition. And that Miata you saw flash by is Aaron Lichty. He is now P3 at a 1 minute 40 flat. So he's getting into the time range of Eric Coutil and Dave Montgomery. And Lichty, definitely one of those drivers that we expect to see at the front. As we look back to the front straight and the checkered flag waves on the very first session of GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Already really exciting action, really interesting to see how this has started to unfold as drivers finish their final flyers and begin their cool-down laps. It is Eric Coutil setting the pace at a 1 minute 39.3. Dave Montgomery did improve while we were talking about other drivers to a 1 minute 39.3 as well. We mentioned before these guys were 0.05 apart. They lend the session 0.026 from one another. This is going to be phenomenal racing. Aaron Lichty jumping up on his final flyer into the 1 minute 40s, puts himself 7/10 out of P1. DJ Alessandrini in the 4th spot at a 141.4, and Rob Manucheri in the E36 M3 at a 142.5. We'll round out the top 10 for you real quick. JT Murray in the CRX, Chase Heikla in the Spec Miata, Jake Dornstad in the 9th Gen Civic SI. Sorry about that. 9th spot, Jeremy Boyson, and then Chris Tuttle in the C4 Corvette rounding out the top 10. All right, as we watch our final cars taking the checkered flag and rejoining the pit lane, that's going to round out our competition and timed action for this morning. So we're winding down on this first live stream for GridLife Live. That was GridLife Touring Cup action. Before that, we saw GridLife Track Battle action, Time Attack, 3 sessions, and as we speak, those cars rolling onto pit lane are the HPDE sessions. We're going to move into some beginner, advanced, intermediate action, kind of run down what to expect for the rest of the day as we close out this first GridLife Live stream. Again, we'll be back live at around 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for qualifying for GridLife Touring Cup. We'll have the next round, Session 2 of Time Attack, Groups A, B, and C in that order. We'll be back right away, rolling from Time Attack into GridLife Touring Cup Race 1. Again, Race 1 of 5 this weekend in the GridLife Touring Cup Championship here at Mid-Ohio. Right after that race, we're going back to Time Attack action for Session 3 and back-to-back straight away back into Race 2 for GridLife Touring Cup. So we have almost 3.5 hours straight of competition here coming at you from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course later this afternoon. I'll be joined by some guests here in the booth. We appreciate everybody joining us on the live stream for the basic version of this very first GridLife Live from Round 1 Track Battle. A couple more guys checking in as we close out here. We got Ken Hausiel watching down out of the East Coast, another one of our GridLife iRacers who's gone wheel to wheel with DJ Alessandrini a whole bunch in the digital world, watching his buddy come out here and do a great job in the real world. Dave Pritchett said, loving the live feed. Thanks for tuning in, Dave. Danny Hagford giving DJ some praise, getting everything out of that 8th gen. And then a thanks from Matt Christie running the number 550 Roush Mustang in street rear-wheel drive. He was on track earlier, just says thanks for watching. So if you're listening, you're watching. These guys know it. They love it. So again, as we round down here, we will be back live here from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course 2:30 to about 6 p.m. this afternoon. We'll give you specific times if you're looking for a certain session. GridLife Touring Cup qualifying at 2:30. Time Attack starts at 3:10. Race 1 for Touring Cup at 4:10. Quick turnaround back to Time Attack at 4:30, and then the final GridLife Touring Cup race of the day rounds out starting at 5:30. If you want to see that, go to grid.life. Schedule's at the bottom of the page. Again, we'll have live timing for all of this. If you can't tune in and watch, you can at least keep track of the lap times on Race Monitor. And again, if you want to tune in later, grid.life/live. This is Tom O'Gorman. You can call me Tomo. We'll be back live later today with some guests to cover all that action. Thanks for watching, guys.